Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank Professor Nasser for inviting me for this nice meeting. I'm going to speak about a very debatable subject, which is update on management of asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis, with the recommendation from the ESVS and SVS. Before we start, let's look at the natural history of asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis. Very nice paper from Japan. They found the incidence of carotid artery progression, asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis, is high, even the use of aspirin and statin. Another retrospective single-center study, they look at all patients came to the hospital with a carotid-related stroke, and they found 7%, they already have previously asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis more than 50%. Even though 50% they were on antiplatelets, 55 were on statin, and 35 we were on both. So what they conclude that asymptomatic patient on medical therapy have less severe carotid-related stroke, but still on high risk of having carotid-related stroke. So what they conclude that medical therapy is unlikely to be sufficient stroke prevention for patients with significant asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis. This is another paper published recently. They look at the relationship between asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis and cognitive dysfunction and fall, and they found that asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis associated with impaired mobility and cognition that are accompanied with increased fall risk. This impairment increase with the increase of the severity of ICA stenosis. So what the guidelines is saying about that? We have two major guidelines, one from the Europe, ESVS 2017, we have an update one, and we have from United States. Let's start with the European ESVS guideline, the new one. They still didn't change it from 2017. They're still saying if you have asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis, 60 to 99%, and you have life expectancy more than 5 years, favorable anatomy, and more than one feature suggesting high stroke risk on PMT, they're still recommended to do surgery or stenting. What they mean by high risk, you mean if you have contractile TIA stroke, ipsilateral silent infarction on cerebral angiogram, in the ultrasound you see stenosis progression more than 20%, or spontaneous embolization on transcranial Doppler, impaired cerebral vascular reserve, large plaque, occulescent plaque, or hypoechoic area on ultrasound, or in MRA if you see intraplaque hemorrhage or lipid-rich necrotic core. So if you have any of this risk factor, then you have to do surgery. What about United States SVS? They depend guidelines. They depend on two old trials really, but both trials they already have an update. They depend on the ACAS trial from 1995, and we have an update 2024. And they depend also on ACAST, and then we have an ACAST 1. If you look at ACAST study in 1995, it's a prospective randomized trial. They have about 1,600 patients. They follow up patients for 5 years, and all patients, they were on aspirin. And they compare medical versus carotid endarterectomy, and they found no difference between two groups in the incidence of major stroke or death. But the incidence of any ipsilateral TIA or stroke or death was lower in the surgical group. So what they conclude that CA reduced the risk of any stroke or death from 11 to 5% in 5 years, with patient asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis more than 60%, with reduction about 53%. So the ACAS recommendation recommended CA for patient age less than 80, as long as the expected combined stroke and mortality rate is less than 3%. Then we have the European trial, also ACAS trial. Also it's a randomized controlled trial, about 3,000 patients, 5 years follow-up. And the trial also showed the advantage in limiting stroke and death at 5 years for CA compared with maximum medical therapy, 4.1 versus 10%. And they found this 5 years risk for all stroke in the CA group was reduced by half, and the same for fatal or disabling stroke in CA group comparing with the CA deferred group. Then we have an update on this trial where they follow up patients for 10 years, and now we call it an ACAST 1. And they found that the benefits continue even after 10 years with a reduction of stroke from 17.9 to 13.3 was gained about 4.6%, and half of this reduction was in disabling or fatal stroke. So what some people, they can argue about all this trial, there was no statin. And this is very common, discussion about these trials. But if you look at the ACAST 1, it showed that the stroke risk with the CA plus medical therapy was nearly half that of medical therapy alone, irrespective of whether patient receiving lower lipid-lowering drug or not. So statin helped to reduce the incidence of stroke, but still, if you add surgery to statin, you still have much benefit than if statin alone. And you can see that 1.3 versus 0.7% if patient was on a statin, and if patient not on statin still increase the stroke from 3.3 to 1.8%. Then we have a paper published recently for Conrad, and he found that best medical therapy failed to prevent carotid artery progression in 40% of the patient and to prevent ipsilateral neurological symptom in 12%. Also, he argues that not all asymptomatic patients are the same because patient may get TIA while he is asleep and then he wake up without no symptoms. So we label this patient as asymptomatic even though they may be symptomatics. The second thing is that there is evidence that cognitive function improve after CA or CAS, where there is no improvement in medical treatment. All this led the Society of Vascular Surgery to give us a very strong recommendation. This is a new one with grade 1B. In low surgical patient, risk patient with asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis, more than 70%, we recommend CAA with best medical therapy over maximum medical therapy alone for long-term prevention of stroke and death. Very strong recommendations. But to get this result, patient has to have at least 2 years survival, 3 to 5 years, because you don't see its benefit until after 2 years, and your combined stroke and risk and death should be less than 3%. And they found no difference between male and female. So after all this data, if you're still not convinced that we have to do surgery for asymptomatic carotid stenosis, at least consider this kind of patient to do surgery for them. If they have initial degree of carotid stenosis, especially more than 80%, if you have a progression in the severity of asymptomatic, because it's increased or double the risk of stroke, especially if you see more than 20% progression of the stenosis, if you see asymptomatic embolism detected on transcranial Doppler ultrasound, ipsilateral silent embolic infarction on CTA or MRI, or you see some morphology on ultrasound, as we said, if you have like more than 3 ulcer, because this you increase your risk of stroke at 3 years, large plaque area, plaque echolicity, or intraplaque hemorrhage, or if your patient has a reduced cerebral blood flow reserve. So at least this kind of patient, we have to do surgery if we don't have to do all of them. What about stenting? I think the previous lecture talked about it. If you look at the ACAS2, they look at the 30 days rate of death or any stroke was higher for CAS, but was not statistically significant. And 5 years rate for procedure death or any fatal or disabling stroke was similar. But if you look at 2017 meta-analysis of 5 trials, the ACAT1, CREST, EVA, 3S, ICSS, and SAPHIR, compare CA with the CAS, they found that peri-procedure stroke was higher for CAS comparing with the CA, but peri-procedure and ipsilateral stroke during long-term follow-up was the same, and the composite outcome of death, stroke, and MI was the same. This is a very nice retrospective randomized trial using the VQI database. They compare TCAR with the CAA and the transfemoral carotid artery stenting, and they found that the TCAR is very similar to the surgery, but regarding the stroke, but it decreased. Just 1 minute, I think almost done. Thank you. So if you compare TCAR with the carotid endarterectomy, they was both the same, but TCAR was, of course, less chance of cranial nerve injury. But when you compare TCAR with the transfemoral stenting, there was 72% reduction in stroke and 65% reduction of stroke and death. What patient unlikely to benefit from revascularization? Severe comorbidity, limited life expectancy, prior disabling ipsilateral stroke, or if he has an occluded ICA. So conclusion, patient with more than 70% asymptomatic carotid artery stenosis, he should be considered for CA, TCAR, or transfemoral CAS, but he has to have at least 3 to 5 years life expectancy, and your stroke rate and death should be less than 3%. Determine which technique based on the presence, absence, or high-risk criteria for CA, TCAR, or transfemoral CAS. Upcoming randomized hopefully will give us an answer to comparing best medical treatment regarding with stenting. And this is phase 2 and CREST 2. Thank you very much for your attention.